The F-22 Raptor, America's icon of air dominance. Built in the 1990s, and still untouchable today. Now, it's getting new skin, new sensors, new weapons, all tuned for the 2030s. And the cost? Millions, not billions. While the Pentagon is throwing oceans of cash at the next-generation F-47 Phantom, a $300 million per jet gamble, the Raptor is quietly being reborn. So here's the question, does America really need a trillion-dollar future, or can a reborn legend still rule the skies? For years, the story was that the F-22 was done. Too few built, too costly to maintain, and too complex to upgrade. The Air Force planned to retire squadrons early and shift all funding to the shiny new NGAD program. But reality hit hard, there's no replacement ready. Not this decade. And China isn't waiting. In 2025, Congress blocked the early retirements. Budgets were rewritten, and the Raptor suddenly had a second life. $90 million for a viability engineering program to keep it lethal through the 2030s. Another $270 million to integrate a brand new IRST system, a 360-degree infrared search and track suite that finally gives the Raptor the eyes it's always needed. Then came the stealth-tuned 600-gallon drop tanks and low-observable pylons, the fix for its greatest weakness, range. It's not billions like NGAD. It's hundreds of millions, enough to turn a 1990s jet into a 2030s Predator. The logic is brutal. NGAD and the F-47 are still years from combat readiness. Prototype costs are bleeding $3 billion a year, and production units will dwarf even the F-35's price tag. The Air Force can't bet the Pacific on a paper airplane. So the F-22 stays alive, and sharper than ever. Even Air Combat Command admits it, no near-term replacement exists. Translation: keep the Raptor flying or surrender the skies. Now, squadrons that were preparing for retirement are training with new software, new cockpits, and new weapons. The same jet that first flew when Bill Clinton was president is now being wired for a war with Beijing in the 2030s. And Congress didn't hesitate. When the choice is losing the skies or writing another check, Washington always finds the money. Because next in Gad's trillion-dollar appetite, the Raptor's budget is pocket change. So what exactly are those millions buying? First, the eyes. The F-22's old weakness was vision beyond radar. The new IRST/IRDS system changes that, giving it passive 360-degree tracking of enemy heat signatures. It can now detect stealth jets, drones, or incoming missiles, silently. No radar emissions. No warning. Just targets appearing out of nowhere. Second, the range. The F-22's combat radius was about 590 nautical miles, barely enough for Pacific missions. Now, with stealthy 600-gallon tanks, it stretches deep into contested airspace. And when the fight begins, the pylons drop cleanly, restoring full stealth. For the first time, Raptors can launch from Guam or Japan, fight over Taiwan, and come home. Third, the brain. The cockpit is being rebuilt with open mission systems, modular avionics that update fast and integrate new weapons easily. A new Scorpion helmet display lets pilots aim missiles just by looking, link directly with wingmen, and track multiple threats without switching radar modes. Fourth, the skin and nerves. Lockheed Martin is refreshing stealth coatings, upgrading electronic warfare suites, and hardening cyber defenses. It's not just harder to see, it's harder to kill. And finally, the teeth. The Raptor will soon field the AIM-260 JATM, a new long-range missile that outsticks China's PL-15. Over 200 kilometers of reach. 6 carried internally. And on the horizon, the Mako, a hypersonic missile small enough to fit inside the Raptor's bay. Imagine Mach 5 strikes from an invisible jet. No warning. No defense. A fighter born in the 1990s, now tuned for 2030, for a fraction of the cost of starting over. F-22 vs F-47, roles, not rivals. The F-22 is the heavyweight, raw kinematics, unmatched agility, and still the stealth benchmark. The F-47 is the new breed, bigger, longer-legged, AI-driven, and ruinously expensive. Boeing's F-47, built under the Next Generation Air Dominance program, will have a combat radius of over 1,000 nautical miles, nearly double the Raptor's. Its adaptive cycle engines, the GXA-100 and Pratt & Whitney XA-101, switch between cruise efficiency and full combat thrust, 30% more range, 10% more power. But what makes the F-47 revolutionary isn't speed, it's brains. Each jet will command up to 5 autonomous, collaborative combat aircraft, drones acting as scouts, missile trucks, or kamikaze strikers. The Air Force wants 1,000 of them flying by 2030, each costing around $25 million. An F-47 with its drone Wolf Pack could overwhelm defenses in ways no manned fighter ever could. The problem? Price. Each F-47 could cost $300 million, with development devouring billions annually. Even the Air Force admits it may only afford 150 of them, at best. Meanwhile, 180 F-22s are flying today. Upgraded for tens of millions each, not hundreds. For less than the cost of one F-47, the Air Force can keep entire Raptor squadrons combat ready for another decade. And make no mistake, they're still unmatched. Thrust-to-weight ratio above 1.25. Sustained Mach 1.8 plus supercruise. Instantaneous turns no other jet can match. Add AIM 260s, and a single Raptor patrol becomes a no-fly zone. The plan is simple. The F-47 leads the deep fight, striking hundreds of miles inside Chinese airspace with its drone swarm. The F-22 holds the mid-fight, defending tankers, AWACS, and bases, slashing through enemy fighters, and anchoring U.S. air superiority until NGAD arrives in numbers. One is evolution. The other is revolution. Both exist for one reason. China and Russia. China now fields over 200 J-20 Mighty Dragons and is testing 6th-gen prototypes, the J-36 and J-50. Their PL-15 missile already reaches 200 kilometers, threatening U.S. support aircraft. The rumored PL-21 could stretch to 300 kilometers with ramjet propulsion. Add hypersonic DF-17s and carrier killer DF-21DS, and you see why range and stealth are everything. Russia's smaller fleet is dangerous in a different way. The Su-57 Felon, the Mach 6 R-37M missile, and advanced S-400 and S-500 SAMs that can hunt stealth aircraft. They're also developing the MiG-41 Interceptor, possibly Mach 4+, possibly Vaporware, but a reminder that threats keep evolving. Against that backdrop, America's air strategy is clear. The F-22's upgrades give it stealth vision, long-range firepower, and the legs to survive. The F-47 adds endurance, digital warfare, and the command architecture to control drones across the battle space. Together, they form the new order of battle. Raptors, about 180 flying and lethal now. F-47s, maybe 150, entering service in the 2030s. China, 200 plus J-20s and counting. Russia, fewer jets, but long-range missiles that bite. The prize isn't money, it's air dominance. Whoever owns the sky owns the war. And as America's Raptors rise again, the message is clear. The legend isn't retiring, it's evolving. So if you want to keep watching where the next trillion disappears, into Raptors, Phantoms, or maybe Elon's Twitter Air Force someday, you know what to do. Hit subscribe, drop a like, and stay locked in.